Hello everyone, welcome. My name is vAaron, and today I've got for you the most feared scaled dungeon in Neverwinter right now. It is Castle Ravenloft. As you can see, if you look at the text chat, someone is asking to be kicked because he doesn't want to leave a penalty, but he doesn't want to do Ravenloft either. So I basically said that you've got to learn someday, so now is the best chance to do it. So the most feared part of this dungeon, I believe, is the sisters. A lot of people start to panic with the sisters because of all the mechanics that come with them. But I don't even pay attention to the mechanics. Of course, you've got the book. Someone's got to take the book. Got to drag the ghosts away. However, other than that and the chains, obviously when the sister has chains on her, she's going to put chains on someone else. And basically you cannot hit her. Otherwise, if you hit her, the damage will go on to the person that also has the chains. So the only mechanics I pay attention to in here is the book. Obviously someone usually does the book. I never usually do the book. And the chains. There is more mechanics in here. For example, you might see in this that I get the stacks and I end up getting killed because I've got the stacks on me. I pay no attention to it. I died. It is what it is. Now a lot of people, when they come into these dungeons, they expect not to die. But it is scaled content. Of course you're going to die. You'd need a top of the range group in order not to die. Everyone needs to be basically doing everything at the perfect time. And yeah, you can get no death runs. However, with this being a pug, this was a 4-man party, and then Killer was actually the pug. And because Ravenloft popped up, he probably thought that we were all a pug, and he didn't want to do it. However, we are in a 4-man party. We know what we're doing. And basically, I die a couple of times. I mean, I'm a rogue. Dying comes with the class. It's just one of them things. I've ended up getting used to it. But a lot of people tend to want to survive everything, and they don't want to die at all. So when it comes to Ravenloft and being pugs, everyone will leave. Well, not everyone. Some people want to try it, but most people will want to leave. Now, how can Cryptic fix this? Well, I want to talk about that in a deeper context a bit later on in the video. But right now, I just want to state that this is my third favorite dungeon in the game. My first favorite, my top dungeon inside the game is T9. And I think that's a lot of people's favorites. Second place is Lair of the Mad Mage. Lair of the Mad Mage, I absolutely love the dungeon. However, I just don't think it beats T9 for me, in my own personal opinion. And obviously, CR is third, because CR, it's different every single time. Yes, it is buggy. Of course it's buggy. I mean, it's Neverwinter. You're going to get bugs. But the bugs, in a way, make it fun. Because no run is actually ever the same. You might even experience a new bug and you might get a big laugh out of it. It is what it is. But in terms of what Cryptic can do in order to fix this so-called, I'm going to call it a fear because that's what it seems like it is. It definitely seems like people are scared of this dungeon. Are they scared of learning it? I just think they want an easy run. And I don't think a lot of people think CR is easy. But CR is actually, it's not that much harder from any of the other dungeons. Just because people don't know the mechanics, they think that they're not going to pass it. All you need to know is the book and the sword, technically. And you just need to know not to hit the sister when the chains are out. Because obviously it deflects damage. This boss, yes, there is a mechanic. When he starts swinging, he has to hit one of the pillars. You have to take him to one of the pillars. He's swinging now. Take him to one of the pillars, there you go, he stops swinging. But when he's swinging, you cannot do damage to him. But as you can see, I've got the aggro, so I'm just trying to direct him towards the pillars. And yeah, the dungeon itself is very, very easy. There's even guides on YouTube. I don't think many people look at mechanics on YouTube. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like every single time I've got CR in a pug, where I'm playing on my own, I've soloed a pug, and it just seems like no one knows what they're doing. No one wants to get through CR. For me, doing CR is fun. I'd prefer do CR over IC any day. And I'd prefer do CR over FBI. But that's just my preference. A lot of people might not share that. I do believe when it comes to this dungeon that the sisters are actually the hardest part. And I believe if you get past the sisters, you are basically completing the rest of the dungeon. But a lot of people still don't know what to do with that sun sword. I understand I've been playing for a long time and I've basically learned all the dungeons. Not all the trials. I don't really like 10-man content, just like many people don't like Castle Ravenloft. It's everyone's personal preference. However, I believe when it comes to 5-man content, I think you should learn the dungeons. I mean, they're not overly difficult at all. They have got some more mechanics, and personally, I want to see some more Ravenloft-like mechanics, because when it comes to just burning a boss down, anyone can do it. And a lot of people tend to be selfish, go for the DPS, whereas I like them sort of runs where we're coordinating everything. We're saying, oh, everyone drop artifacts. We're using a Frozen, we're using a Mithril. We're using different artifacts in order to debuff the boss. And also when it comes to mechanics like the book, it means a DPS usually has to sacrifice their own DPS in order to get the completion. And I believe that is what Neverwinter is missing as a whole. I believe group content, teamwork, all that is definitely needed within this game. I believe a lot of the mechanics can easily be burned through, to be honest with you. There are mechanics in Vault of Stars. Of course, you've got to pay attention to them more than anywhere else, because Vault of Stars is, at the minute, probably the hardest 5-man dungeon to do. But I would love to see more team-based group mechanics. You know, maybe get rid of all the one-shot mechanics that are in the game. The one-shot mechanics just feel cheap to me. The dragons, I don't believe the mechanics. I really don't. Mechanics can be learned, can be studied. It's a routine, and you can basically learn mechanics. That's the whole point of them being mechanics. The dragons, on the other hand, I just think that's a cheap way of getting us to spend money /AD on things like scrolls, if you necessarily don't have the trade bars, or maybe it's their way of getting you to buy keys so you can get the trade bars. You just heard my phone vibrate. I apologise for that. I thought I had it on silent. But anyway, as you've seen, there's been a few deaths in the CR. However, we haven't necessarily struggled. Now, I did cut out the run that we failed on Strahd. Because we failed on Strahd, we forgot to pop the daily on the Sun Sword, which means we didn't get the protective bubble in order to avoid Strahd's blasts. But it is what it is. We were having fun, we were joking around, messing around, and we just simply forgot. But obviously, when he says the line, raise me to the heavens, you're supposed to pop your daily if you've got the Sun Sword in your hands. And that is essentially what we forgot to do. And I've just died twice. It is what it is. I'm a rogue. We die. And I basically got used to dying. But I know a lot of the healers that I run with do kind of get a bit bummed out, because it's usually their job to keep me up. But if you've just seen, on them 2 deaths, one of them was my fault because I was stood in the middle and that big AoE blast basically appeared, and that will one-shot me. And it is what it is. You can't heal a one-shot. But when I zoomed out, I got one shot, and that makes no sense to me. But it is what it is. Scale content, CR, deaths come with CR, deaths come with LOM, deaths come with absolutely everything. There's nothing I can say about that. It's part of the game. But what are your guys' thoughts on this being, in my eyes, the most feared 5-man dungeon in the game? The only reason I say it, obviously I think I've already said it, but the only reason I say it is because when you pug this, like, you guys just go and pug it. Just go and pug it. Like, pug it 10 times. I know it's hard to do because the random queues are basically random, but pug it about 10 times. Let me know how many people leave in them 10 runs. I know you're not going to do it because it's a waste of time. Of course, people are going to leave. You know people are going to leave. I know people are going to leave. It is what it is. But, as you've seen, Killer, I don't think he was new. I think that he just didn't want to pug it. Maybe he thought that it was going to be a rough group. But he didn't say anything about learning it, so maybe it was like his second run. But we got through it, and with very minimal effort. But it's Ravenloft. You don't be afraid of Ravenloft. Ravenloft is actually a really, really fun dungeon. In terms of bugs, yeah, there's a few bugs. There's a few one-shots that shouldn't actually one-shot you. You've got the bats at the sisters that tend to just chunk health down. Then you've got bats at Strahd, which do absolutely no damage at all. And it is what it is. It's inconsistent, but it's Neverwinter at the end of the day. We're used to it by now, guys. Come on. So let me know your thoughts on Ravenloft. Do you also hide away from it? Do you leave the pug group that maybe you've pugged? But I don't know what else to say. Just don't be afraid of Ravenloft. Really fun dungeon. But leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new. You want to make your way back to the channel. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.